Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jan Baris, integration architect, engineer, enthusiast. Today I will explain to you how we can set up OAuth 2.0 within Azure Entra and use it to protect our APIs within Azure API Management. For this demo, what we will do, I will have an API set up within the Azure API Management instance, just an easy Echo API. I will first show you how we can use Postman to just call that API so we get a success message back. Then I will show you how we will set up the Microsoft Entra so we can actually have an application there which is used to maintain our token. Then I will show you how we will set up the Azure API Management to include that token and verify that the token is actually valid. And then I show you how it works in the end. Let's get started. First things first, our Postman. So within the Postman, we have a very simple API. This is our Azure API Management instance. We are just going to perform a GET call with a subscription key, and we will get a success. As you see, it works like this right now. So a very, very easy setup. This is our Azure API Management. We will have just one single API. This is the API. And within the API, the thing which we do is we have our mock available. So for now, we just say we are going to return a mock of 200 back without any validations whatsoever. And now it's time to set up the Azure Entra. The first thing where we go to is the Microsoft Entra environment. Go to app registrations, and we are going to say new registration. And over here, we are going to create a new application. So I'm going to call it demo Yandaris OAuth. We will use single tenant, so our token is only valid for within our own tenant. We are not going to set up a redirect because it will just be used within Azure API Management. And the first thing which we need to copy is our application client ID. I would recommend just getting a notepad or something and copy paste it. We need our tenant ID. I will explain why later. And that's that for now. Then we go to certificates and secrets. We're now on the client secret tab. You're going to say new client secrets. And let's say APIM secrets. And we're going to create that. Be aware that we can only make a secret which is valid for 720 days. Longer is not possible. And these details will be used within Azure API Management to validate that the token is available. So that's where we need the tenant ID and the client ID for. And the secret is also used by the client caller to actually get the token before going to our Azure API Management. So that can be either yourself or some external party which need to set up OAuth 2.0. And the next thing we will set up is expose an API because we will need a scope setup. I just use the default over here. And I say, I'll just name it default. And you can give it a certain display name, description, however you need it. And it is recommended to set it up in a way that it's clear what type of scope it is for that token. So I will just use some easy naming for now. And it is enabled. Let's copy that also and paste it so we will have it available. And that's our part within the Entra environment. The next thing we do is we go to our Azure API Management instance and we are going to our named values. And here I'm going to add a few parameters. course, normally you deploy this nicely by your repository with your bicep or Terraform or RM. So you can also use it for other APIs without deploying it separately. But for now, we're just going to do it a bit simple. Call this one tenant ID. I'm going to paste my tenant ID in there. And I'm also going to say my client ID. And again, of course, you are going to use a proper name, which distinguish what type of named value it is for you. Okay, you're going to save that. And that's a part. The next part will be to set up the validate policy within the API. And then we will configure the Postman to actually get the token first. Policy and Postman. So as you remember, we had our mock set to 200, so we get success back. And as a preparation, I already prepared my policy. So we will have the validate GVT with our header set to authorization. If it fails, we are going to say you get a 401. You can of course customize this. And we give the message back unauthorized, access token is missing. And we will require that it is a bearer token. We will use the OpenID config URL to log into the Microsoft tenant. And this is again our named values, which we set over here. And we will use the client ID for our two audiences. And we will have two separate issuers to actually allow to give the token. So it depends on which the application is used to get the OAuth 2 token. And we give back a 200 again. I don't save it yet. I just want to showcase what happens now. Oh, we can now success. And if I save it now, it will normally take a few seconds. Yeah, now we get a 401. So now the policy is actually used. So that means we need the authorization. So we can go over here and you say OAuth 2.0. And we will need certain variables. So I have my subscription key, client ID, tenant ID, and client secret set. We copied them earlier. And what you see over here, I will also place it in the description of the video. We will need to set these variables, which we also copied earlier from the application. And we can go down here, get new access token, proceed, use token. And now it works again. And that's how we can set up OAuth 2.0 for Azure API Management and make sure that your APIs are properly authorized. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye.